Welcome to the latest episode of the Tractor Girls Talk podcast. My name is Katy Sandalls. I'm the women's football columnist for the East Anglian Daily Times and Ipswich Star. I'm joined, as ever, by Snapper Supremo Ross Halls. How you doing, Ross?
Very well. Summer is finally gone, although it wasn't really much of a summer. Once again, I'm bringing about the weather. We always do this, but yeah, we didn't have much sun, did we? But yep, all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It was summer in our hearts. It was winter pretty much outside already. So, ready to get the old jumpers out of the closet and ready to wrap up warm with a hot chocolate for the rest of the year, to be honest, Ross. But we've got something that should warm up the hearts of any Ipswich Town Women's fan today because we've got a big interview, Ross.
Yes, the man, the gaffer, Joe Sheehan, is with us talking all things this season so far. Many different things chatted. And yeah, I really did enjoy the chat. It was really good.
It's fantastic. He talked, like you said, Ross. He reflects on the season so far. Talks about, he gives an update on Blue Wilson's injury, which was really good, and yeah, just talks about how those new signings have been fitting in, and sort of looking forward to Sunday's game away at Chichester. So let's cut now to our chat with Joe Sheehan. And now we're joined by Tractor Girls Talk mega fan, I think it's fair to say, and Ipswich Town Women's manager, Joe Sheehan. Thanks for joining us today, Joe.
Good morning. How are you both?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well. Lots of games. Really busy, but good busy. It's all good. We're in the thick of it now, so no complaints.
I was going to say, let's start then. How are you feeling after those first few games? New tier, new lots of things, really.
Really pleased actually. I think we only had a couple of pre-season games, which didn't really concern me too much because we'd had sort of 6 really good weeks of training. So we'd like to have played 4. We only played 2, but yeah, we weren't concerned too much. We know it's a long slog. You can play up to 30 games, even more, in fact, with cup competitions. So we always feel that maybe we don't have to peak game day 1. I think others will look to. I think there are clubs in the Super League that have played 7-8 games. But I think we'd like to have played 4. We only played 2, but obviously it hasn't had too much of an effect because we started really well. So yeah, really pleased with the start. I think we've had sort of spells in games that we've been really pleased with, spells in games that we're a bit disappointed with, and ultimately we want to try and have spells in games that we're really pleased with, that aren't just spells in games, that they go out for the whole game, and then 2, 3, 4 games in a row. So that's kind of what we're striving for. And I think for that to probably take place, we probably need to be a bit better and a bit consistent during the week. We probably need to try and improve what we deliver as well. We want to try and stimulate the players as much as we can for our training sessions and get the balance right with how hard we push them. And hopefully, we can try and perform better consistently and keep winning games.
I want to quickly bring up training, Joe. You're now doing it 4 times a week, which is fantastic for the players, and I'm sure yourselves as coaches to have them at the training ground. How has that been for yourselves? And I'm sure it's been just brilliant through the summer, being able to, get to know the players as well closely as well.
Yeah, it's more 3, I would say. I mean, Mondays are kind of a recovery day. Players have the option to come in and do their recovery with us. But most have got programs that they can do away from us, and we keep up to date with their match day +1 kind of recovery scores and RPEs and stuff like that. So yeah, we get 3 full sessions out in a week, which is an improvement on last year. And also, as you know, we're doing it during the day, so it's much more productive, we feel, and players are able to get evenings back as well as staff. It's a bit lighter, so yeah, I think it's just more of an enjoyable place to be. Obviously, we all enjoy what we do. We enjoy coaching them. Players enjoy playing, but sometimes you're out at 9:20 on a Friday or Thursday night, and it's cold and wet and damp, and no one's about. It can be a bit difficult at times. So yeah, I think at the moment it's a lot more productive.
And you don't need to worry about traffic sometimes, or road closures and stuff. Sometimes that can come involved. And as you said, Baltic weather in December. I know it'll still be cold in December in the afternoon, but it's still not going to be as bad. I'm sure that's those nights you won't miss.
No, that's it. And I think I think we've got a few players that still get stuck en route, the ones that travel a little bit. But yeah, I think it's just really important that where possible, I think players and staff alike can have evenings back. It's non-stop the job. Weekends, Sundays are given up. 3-4 evenings a week. I think it's important that if you can give players an opportunity just to spend a bit of time away from you with family, friends, or whatever in the evenings as well. Yeah, it makes for a happier camp, I think.
I was going to say there, you're talking about the challenges. It's your first season as a third tier manager. Has that brought sort of changes that you've had to make for yourself? Has it brought changes to the way you sort of manage? How has that changed you?
I think that we knew pretty much every team we were playing against in Tier 4. I think the first year, to be honest, we knew we would outplay everybody. And we would probably spring a surprise. We knew the quality we had, and we knew that teams wouldn't know that we had that. I think the second year, we obviously had footage on everybody, so we knew what sort of teams we would be up against, and we know how we could kind of plan depending on who we were against. So now there's lots of changes. I think that we're still finding who's capable of what. We sort of still going into games not really knowing much about who we're playing against. We have limited access to footage. But saying that, Cardiff didn't play how we thought they would. So it's only so much, I guess, you can take away, because you don't want to prepare too much for a team and they change, and then players sort of scratching their head a little bit. So, yeah, we don't know too much about the teams we play against. And I think with that, what we were able to do, I think, at Tier 4 is be quite clever in some ways. We could pick most teams even 2-3 games in advance. So we knew we had players still playing academy games. We knew we had players playing senior games. And I think sort of 70% of the teams were picked for us for sort of 2-3 games in advance to ensure that we were given opportunity. We were giving players appropriate rest, and we were getting the balance right based on what we felt we were up against. Where I think this year, in all honesty, I'm kind of going each game at a time and just going my gut a little bit, and the best possible team to win that game we're kind of going with. On this occasion, as our academy team would have found out yesterday, we've not sort of got players playing across both like we have for the last few years. So, there have been times when, like Sophie Peskett, as an example, would be playing 2 games a week. She was playing Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. When now we've not got that, so we're almost got a fresh senior group every week, where we're kind of going with the best we think we've got available for that game, that are playing well, that are training well, and that's what we're going with. Whereas I say before, we might have looked at next week's strengths. Of our opposition, we felt that actually these players would be more suited to that, and therefore we're going to put some of these ones out on Sunday, etc. So yeah, that would be a difference. I also think another difference in managing is that I think last year we tried to encourage sort of a game model that we kind of believe in, that the players play in, and I think it was always sticking to that. I think what this season showed us is actually we're changing decisions a little bit. We're playing the game as we see it a little bit differently. So, I think the Crawley was a great example of we wasn't able to get a second and third goal. And actually, from sort of 70 minutes onwards, we kind of accepted that we may not score again, but we're most definitely not going to concede a goal. Gillingham was very similar, but we did manage to score sort of a second and a third, which came quite quick. And obviously Sunday against Cardiff, a different type of challenge. How can we try and get this winner? So yeah, it's. I think last year and the year before at Tier 4 was very much this is how we play. Let's go and put them out there and let's try and play like that for as long as possible. And we will probably score 2, 3, 4 goals. It's sometimes even more. Where this year we're having to sort of adapt a little bit and just ensure we win the game ultimately. So yeah, I think those are probably the changes so far that I've noticed.
I want to quickly bring up, we had that big turnaround of games, last week. We had Sunday, Tuesday, Sunday. What was that like as a manager and the players? As you said, you've got more fresh players and stuff, but it's still a quick turnaround for all of them, having to quickly recover. How was that for the players? And of course, thankfully, we got the 3 wins, clean sheets all around as well. Defence are doing blinders again. But what was that like as a manager trying to balance all that? And of course, the M25, a lorry broke down. Lovely.
Yeah, I think we kind of have a bit of a good idea now of players' capabilities. I think there were 1 or 2 we were unsure of. I think coming off the back of the Sunday game, just a very brief conversation with Bonnie. I've only known Bonnie sort of a couple of months really, so I wasn't sure. Still sort of getting to know what she's about and stuff. So I wasn't sure, if she would be able to play sort of 2 in 3 days. We have a couple of players that have reoccurring sort of niggle bits, whether it's shins, whether it be calves. So we know how to manage them a little bit. But yeah, I think the players reported. I mean, we're kind of touching base really post game, the day after the game, the evening of the day after the game. So just trying to ensure that what we felt we were going to play, players were okay. And it seemed like players had recovered pretty well. So it was quite a tough game, the Crawley one. So I was pleasantly surprised that they'd recovered that well and played really well. So yeah, it was obviously something we have to kind of keep on track of. And if players we feel are not quite ready or fresh, then obviously we have to make a change. And we sort of Maria sort of had a bit of a lower back injury, so we made the decision that she would probably benefit from resting. I think also knowing their background, Maria has had quite an inconsistent couple of years with injuries, so I think that we want to try and get a real good run of games in Maria. So while she had a little bit of a back niggle, we felt that it wasn't right to play her again, because we knew we wanted to potentially use her again on the following Sunday because she'd done pretty good. Hence why we brought Summer in. We were unsure of what Eloise was going to be able to do. So I think Kyra started. And we were still trying to sort of balance utilising both Maddie and Tash. So we'd play 2 centre forwards at Hounslow. But we didn't think we'd be able to play 2 against Crawley and 2 against Gillingham. So we made the decision to play 1 against Crawley, 1 against Gillingham. So yeah, just trying to get the balance right and knowing the players and knowing how well they recover. And really pleased, as you say, to get 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, and Katy, you were mentioning, after the recording, before recording, sorry, about let's talk about the signing. So do you want to segue into that?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Bonnie there, Sarah obviously as well, and Liv. How are they fitting into the squad? Obviously, Bonnie's had to step up quite quickly to that captaincy with Blue injured.
Yeah, settled in really well. I think they're 3 really good people. So I've known Liv for a while, but certainly not Sarah and Bonnie. And yeah, just really good, great people, fitting really well, easy going. It appears they really enjoy being with us. I think they've probably both had a couple of really difficult years. Certainly Bonnie, if I think back to maybe at Yeovil and London Bees, they've not had the most successful of seasons. So maybe there's sort of something there where managed to win 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row is something that they've not been able to experience for a while. So that would help as well, I would imagine. But yeah, great people, great players. I think we're all starting to see now the quality that they bring. And that's exactly what we needed, really. And we remember a chat we had probably post Southampton where we felt that we needed reinforcements. We needed a bit of maturity in our play. They've been able to bring that in abundance. So yeah, great players. I think Sarah, we know, has got great quality. She's been great. I think Bonnie, every session is wowing the players. We're starting to really see how good Bonnie is. And Liv's really reliable. She's obviously trying to balance a career in the police force as well, but it's coming in and stepped in and sort of given us real solidity in our back line, and long may it continue with the three of them.
And Katy, you mentioned Blue. We'll sort of segue into our injury and your thoughts on that. Thankfully, it's not as serious as we first thought. But let's bring up the 2 goals that have been definitely goal of the month contenders, maybe goal of the season. I want your thoughts on this, Joe. I remember you coming over to me with the Lucy O'Brien goal. Then Blue Wilson does the same, does an absolute belter of a goal. Which one's better, or can you not decide?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm probably going to go with Blues. And this is no disrespect to Blue, but I'd expect that from Lucy O'Brien. She's an unbelievable player. I've seen her do some crazy things in both training and games. So we know she's capable of real special stuff. Blue's a different type of player. So for Blue to kind of, wriggle away out of 2 players, ride a challenge and take 2 more on before putting it in the top corner, and probably what edges it for Blue as well is, I think, we'd won the game against Hounslow by that point, where obviously, the moment in the game against Crawley 0-0 when it finished 1-0, which is why I'd probably go with Blues. But equally, both of them, outstanding goals. But Lucy's an absolute fabulous player, and she's that sort of player. She's capable of scoring unbelievable goals, and Blue's a bit of a different type of player. So for Blue to kind of show that and deliver that was outstanding.
And a knee slide as well to finish it off, which I was not expecting that from her, although she celebrated the wrong way.
I think she's probably glad it had a bit of drizzle, because I'd hate to have seen how that would have gone had that been dry.
Yeah, that would not be good. But Katy, should we bring up, of course, the Blue injury? We all were fearing the worst, yeah.
After all those, suddenly that big high of that incredible goal, and then obviously the low of what happened next. I mean, when you see a player, your new captain, she's only, been in that role a few games, and you see an injury like that happen, what are your first thoughts? How are you feeling stood there, sort of watching it?
It's a tough one, actually, because I don't actually remember seeing it. I think we all thought it might have been a penalty. And we should have probably just scored. I think Sophie nicked it down the right and had crossed it. And I couldn't believe we hadn't scored. And obviously the emotion of the game, and we see Blue go down, it hadn't really dawned on me at first how maybe serious it could have been. So obviously Lauren went on, and we got the players over, and we were still sort of talking about the game. It wasn't until she come off, we probably sort of had a brief conversation with Lauren that we realised this might be pretty serious. So, stretchered off and taken to hospital. And obviously we had to see out the game. We had to try and focus on the game for that moment. We were able to see the game out, which was great. And then, I gave her a call on the way back and touched base, and she'd been seen by the nurse, and I think her first words were about Tuesday, get me in. Typical Blue, really, trying to sort of think about getting back already. We were hopeful at that point that, off the back of kind of what the nurse had said, that there seemed to be some good range of movement around her knee. Our ACL and MCL felt okay, and it could be potentially kind of a meniscus injury. Which could be around 6-ish weeks. So that's kind of what we think is the case at the moment. I say she's being monitored daily. So we're hopeful that it is that. Hopefully Blue can be back in. I think I would probably say 4 weeks maybe from now. She would probably tell me 10 days, 2 weeks. Who knows? Minimum of 2 weeks, and hopefully no more than 5.
That's good. And I want to quickly talk about, Laffy. He's been playing left back. What you think? She's a fantastic player, midfielder. He's her position, but she's really adapted well at left back. What's your thoughts on that? And Summer's played there as well, but what's Laffy's feelings on playing there, and your feelings as well?
Yeah, Laffy's great. Yeah. She's very versatile. She's obviously left-footed, and we do have quite a few of those. And I think it's important to try and have those, give you a bit of balance in your team. And yeah, it started really off the back of Viva being sort of injured for the first game, or she was unwell. And Laffy has played there before, and she adapts really well. She wants to be a midfield player, but she will play anywhere, and she will play very well anywhere. So yeah, she kind of gives us that. I think what we do pick up about opposition and our limited knowledge of them is that what we've started to notice is that there's a lot more pace in opposition that we're playing against. And each team tends to have 3 or 4 what we might think are problem players that could, if given the opportunity, just cause a bit of damage. I think Crawley have probably got one in Nikita Winnett, and Naomi Cole plays in the middle of midfield. I think that Chichester will have a couple on Sunday, a couple of lively players in advanced areas. And I think we're just in a position where, we've been honest with the group and the staff, is that the physicality in the league and the fitness of players is stronger than last year. And sometimes, we have to go with players we think that can meet the demand physically. And obviously the ones that are missing out, it's our job to try and ensure that we can help them get to that, because obviously when you're not playing, it's sometimes difficult to try and get it. But yeah, we're just in a position at the moment where, say Eva was unwell when Laffy had stepped in. And yeah, Summer equally, is probably profiles as probably our physically our best player across the whole football club from a physical perspective, and also has great technical ability. So yeah, we're just in a position at the moment where we need to ensure that we aren't losing duels, what we call them, in key areas. So we want to try and win duels in attacking areas, and we want to try and dominate them defensively. So if you look at the likes of Bonnie, Blue, and Kyra, Eloise, Abby Lafayette that play in central areas, they have to be dual winners. We want to ensure that we aren't getting out muscled in there. Defensively, we want to ensure that we've had a couple of teams that have played a front 2 against us, and therefore our centre backs need to be able to defend 1v1 because they might be exposed in that. Same for fullbacks that need to be able to defend 1v1. So yeah, at the moment, we want to ensure that we've got players that can win their duels ultimately, and we feel that every player at our football club is capable of being a duel winner. But sometimes if you're missing a week because you're unwell or you've got niggles, then we need to ensure that we put players in that can give us what we need in those areas. And yeah, Abby Lafayette does that wherever she's needed across the football pitch, and likewise Summer.
And you mentioned there briefly, obviously, Chichester this Sunday, a few sort of teams that maybe slightly still a bit of an unknown coming up for you the next few weeks. Obviously, Bees in the Cup and then Keynsham. How are you feeling sort of looking forward to those sort of few games? Obviously, Bees, you took a few of their players last season, so that'd be an interesting return. Yeah,
I've not thought about London Bees and Keynsham too much, if I'm honest. Yeah, obviously the game yesterday with the academy team, which was our focus, and then obviously now it shifts to Sunday with Chichester. So yeah, it's just all about Chichester at the moment, and once Chichester's done Sunday evening, it'll all be about whoever's next. So yeah, looking forward to playing Chichester. I think they'll be better than they probably were when we played them in the cup a couple of years ago. I think everybody is improving year on year. I think players are probably dropping out of the top 2 divisions, and naturally it's filtering down, and everybody else is improving along the way. And as I said, each team will have at least 3 or 4 players that can cause a problem. So you have to ensure that you can nullify that. And yeah, Chichester will be no different. They're well established. They have some really positive results. So they're a team that we have to take very, very seriously. And again, we're desperate to try and win.
I want to quickly just get your thoughts on, the pro deals, all the pro deals that area players sign, Peskett, Page, like all the ones that have been given it. I'm sure you must be proud to say you've been able to give them pro deals. What is that feeling as a manager? And a lot of them have deserved it because their performances, and it's for them now to step up in Tier 3 and prove they deserve those pro deals. But it must be a proud moment when you gave them phone calls to all the players.
Yeah, it's great. I think some of these players have committed a hell of a lot over many years to try and achieve something long term in the game. I'm fortunate that I've been able to be part of many of their journeys so far through their RTC experience into our academy and then into our senior team. So I have a great understanding of them, their family, and what they want to achieve. And so I've been very fortunate being able to be part of that journey with them. So to help them make another step is obviously something I'm very proud of. I'm very proud that the club are going with us on this journey. I think when you start something and you have high aspirations, you never know how quickly or how much you can sort of achieve, really. So I'm pleased that we've grown so much over sort of 5 years, and this is another benchmark. I think that it's something that really helps players, certainly from a financial perspective, even if it's just being able to afford to get in and eat well after a game or before a game, or a gym membership close to home, whatever. Really, I think that I'm pleased that we're able to help in some capacity, contribute to them, because they commit so much. So yeah, it's the first step. It gives them another opportunity to commit a bit more, and yeah, now it's up to us to keep trying to help them improve a little bit more, because we're not finished yet. We're only sort of however far into what we want to achieve. So yeah, it's good. It's a first sort of couple of steps, but we're not satisfied just yet. We want to keep growing, want to keep improving, and see how far we can really take it.
And that's the key word, isn't it, Katy, about growing? Since when you first came in back in 2018, also let's talk about the fans. We've got a fantastic fan base now, supporters coming to our games, going to Gillingham on a Tuesday night, all the way there, and then I'm sure they'll be going to Chichester. Like, how big is that as a manager to have these fans going across the country? And I'm sure they'll go in their 10s to the 50s, to Chichester this Sunday.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think when I took over that, I kind of had in mind that I knew what we were doing with our academy, and I knew we would recruit really well over many years, and I knew that they could filter into the first team, and I knew that I wanted to manage in the top 2 divisions. So I think I always had it in the back of my mind that I'd love to see this group grow and potentially sort of take the reins of the senior team at some point, hopefully in the championship or the top division, and ended up taking it a couple of years, maybe earlier than I would have liked. But it was great. I remember the first game, Bruntham, I think in front of, it was about 30 odd people. So to see it grow from sort of 30 through to almost 800, and kind of looking at now we're at about 300, is great. It really is. And we want it to keep growing. I think that's the key. We want to now start hitting 350, 400 people that come to watch us every week. But we know that the product has to improve, and it has to be more consistent, because we talk a lot about, we want people to talk about us over their dinner after the game. We want them to look forward to coming back. We want to excite, we want to entertain, we want there to be a real connection, because I've had the same group for a long time, and lots of the supporters will know the group, and we want to inspire, and we want players, we want supporters, we want families, we want them to keep coming to watch us, because we know that the more people that can come and watch us, the more support is vital to us to keep growing. The players love playing in front of people, and it adds that bit of spice, and we want to be a club that is leading the way attendances, which we have done so far, and we want that to keep growing as well, because the more support we get, the players thrive off it, and in all honesty, it really helps us commercially as well. Financially, it's massive to us, and I think that we want to be an asset to the football club. We want good support, because we want to achieve so much in the game long term. So hopefully it will continue, and hopefully that our fan base will continue to keep growing with us. And it would be great if we could start getting sort of 400, 500, 600 at the Gold Star for our home games. It'd be magnificent.
Well, that's the challenge there then for fans listening. That is where Joe wants the crowd sizes to go. I spoke to you just after the promotion news had come out, and if I'd said to you then that at this point in the season you'd be unbeaten, having not conceded a goal, and second in the table only on goal difference, I mean, what would you have thought?
It wouldn't have surprised me. But yeah, I'm very pleased. Yeah, I know that it's not been easy. And I think the margin for error is so small in this division. We knew we would have a strong group. Obviously, we've recruited 2 or 3 that we knew we needed to recruit. So I think, we knew we needed to start the season well, and we were able to do that. Back then I'd have been very, very pleased with the start. But this group are capable of so much. Probably not their biggest fan this week, because we want so much more from them. We really do, and what we can achieve is so exciting, but we cannot afford to let it slip, take our foot off the gas, because as soon as we do that, we get a bit complacent. It'll bite us, and I think we nearly got caught out last Sunday, and not willing to take that risk again. So we were disappointed, and so I'm not their biggest fan this week, because we want more, and we want them to do more, and we want to do more, and we want to try and play better, because we want to try and win even more football matches. So if you'd have asked me to say back then about the first 4 and no goals, obviously I'd be really pleased. But again, I wouldn't be surprised, because I know the group are capable of. I know their level. I know their level can be really, really high. I see some bits at times in training that really does wow me. I see individual moments in games and training that really wows me, and I'm still trying really hard to piece that together, and it to be even better and more consistent, and it be showcased in games more often. So we're not satisfied, because we want to do better. We want to do more, because we want to win more games, and we want to try and get as high as we can.
And Katy, you showed me a pitch that Joe took of you. Let's bring my normal feature.
Not me.
Of course.
So obviously one of our favourite features is to ask Ross about the food that he's been eating at away grounds. And I got a picture from you, Joe, at the weekend of him at the Gold Star with a huge burger in his hand, happily munching away. Are there particular places that you've enjoyed so far stopping off this season, or is it all in the enjoyment of watching Ross here, munch down a cheeseburger?
Do you know what? This is bad, but I don't really eat as much as I should, particularly game days. I kind of turn up and get things sorted, and don't tend to eat from breakfast until dinner, and I do miss out, and that's not great, because I should try and snack or eat something in and around or before the game. But there's no real. I can't think of any really.
Man City, of course.
I did actually. I'm guilty of eating a lot of macaroons at the first team game on Saturday. And
that wasn't what I was expecting you to say at all. But
pink ones, green ones. I've had them before, but not in this portion. I was enjoying them on Saturday's men's first team game, and plenty of cheese and biscuits, and which is unusual. But I was peckish, and polished those off.
And you looked very, very smart in that suit. I think you should wear that more often. You look a dapper look. I like that. I like it, but it's a bit different, I think the training kit, when you're in the zone, in the dugout, and then with a suit, is where you do get the deals done.
Yeah, it felt odd. I can't remember the last time I put a suit on. I had to ask parents to rush my suit to my house, late notice for Saturday. So yeah, felt very strange wearing it, but no, it was great. And obviously Natasha got presented with her trophy, and it was great to spend some time with Mark Ashton and Luke and the chairman. And we've got a really exciting future, I think, as a football club, which is great.
That's good. And I want to quickly just mention about your parents, and then also another parent, Leonie Jackson's mum. Big shout out to Emma. She listened to the pod and she mentioned that she's going to get me sponsored by Sweet Peas. It's a Jamaican restaurant. She's going to bring me some Jamaican food. So big shout out to Emma. Hopefully that will get sorted, and I'll be eating some better food instead of sausage baps and stuff. So fingers crossed on that. I'll give you an update.
For anybody wondering as well about that picture, if you head over to YouTube, you should be able to see it now.
Yeah, it's a sausage bap. It's actually nice. Like, Joe, I'm sure it's nice to be back at the Gold Star as well. That's such a long time not being there because most of the games were away when we did play during the COVID situation. But how good is it being back at Gold Star?
Yeah, it's great. I think certainly, I think you just touched on it earlier. My parents love the fact that we're playing Felixstowe, and I think it's great for not just mine but all parents and families and friends of players and staff and whatnot. It's kind of nice day out, really, especially in the summertime when you can come watch a game, you can go down to Felixstowe, and there's lots to do, and it's something a little bit different. So I think it's great. Felixstowe have been great for us. It's good that they're able to provide us with what we need, and obviously the attendances help them as well. It's a great sort of collaboration, and long may it continue. And yeah, it's great to see fans back, because I know that it's a lot of people have missed it for quite a while, and we've missed going there, we've missed playing there, and hopefully now we can have some continuity in our season, our campaign, and we can keep playing really well and keep entertaining as much as we can.
And obviously, Gold Star is the home of the Tractor Girls, but would you like to see a game at Portman Road if you could this season?
Obviously, yeah, I would love to. I think the challenges we have at the moment is the pitch is not a Desso pitch, which, for those that don't know, a Desso pitch is a kind of a modern surface that a lot of the Premier League, well, all of the Premier League clubs, I think, will have. Among other clubs, I don't think we have a Desso pitch at Portman Road yet, which means its ability to host more than its allocated games, and its ability to recover as a pitch is obviously, I'm not sure in the exact details of it, but I know it's just not fit for it. So I know it'd be easy to say, but only one. But then obviously, the 18s will have Youth Cup games, and the 23s might have a game, and it's only one, and it's one, and one becomes 10, 12, and Ben's probably pulling his hair out. So the club would definitely be receptive to it. I think if it was a Desso pitch, certainly. MK Dons play at Stadium MK because it's a Desso pitch. So yeah, I think obviously we would love to. I think the club would definitely be open to us playing there. But I think, as Mark Ashton said in one of his fans' forums at the start of the season, that until the pitch is a Desso pitch, it's just not something that we could probably do just yet. However, I would like to think that if we are very close or in the running, come Southampton at home on the last day of the season, that could be a really, really big game. Who knows? But not at the moment.
Not at the moment. No, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Joe. It's so great to sort of get your insights on how the season's been going so far, and best of luck for Sunday and for indeed the next upcoming games.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, Gaffer. Have a good one.
And that was Ipswich Town Women's manager Joe Sheehan talking about how his team have been doing this season. It was a great interview, Ross. He had lots to say.
Yeah, he's a fantastic talker, isn't he? He's a pro, and he loves macaroons. That's what we found out. So
yeah, that's our biggest learning point today. Joe Sheehan loves macaroons, and he wants you to be talking about Ipswich Town over the dinner table. yeah, no, fantastic to chat with Joe. He's got big plans for the fans, wanting to see those numbers keep going. I mean, I accidentally started a bit of a fan attendance war on Twitter the other day with some Wolves fans, because Town obviously are the top in their respective part of the third tier, the Southern Division, but Wolves have got a higher attendance in their Northern tier. So, take up Joe's challenge, bring your friends along for the next home game in a few weeks' time. Yeah, absolutely. But that's it for us today. If you want to follow us on the social medias, I am at Katy Sandalls, Katy with a Y, Sandalls with 2 L's, as I spend most of my life telling people. And Ross, you are at
Ross Me in the UK, and of course, Kings of Anglia on all the
Absolutely.
platforms where you want to find us.
We are a proud part of the KOA family. We'll be back after the next game. Like we say, it's away Sunday at Chichester and Selsey. If you're heading to the game, have a great one. See if you can spot Ross eating something at the away ground. Ross, I don't know what Chichester will have to offer you, but hopefully it's a decent snack this time.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the 6-0 win in the FA Cup, or was it 6-1? I don't know what we beat them in the FA Cup. I forgot the result, but hopefully there'll be some food on offer. If not, service station will have to do, I think, again.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll be back with you soon.